So the internet is going insane right now over the latest episode of Dragon Ball Super episode 5 if I'm correct, and one of the biggest complaints is everyone is saying that the art for the fight between Goku and Beerus was terrible. And to be honest with you, because before I seen this episode, I seen Twitter, and Twitter is where a lot of times I check stuff out or whatever, and people link stuff, all sorts of things. The art, I will say this, I'll break it down because there was 3 different sequences basically of the fight. There was the Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan 3. I will give some credit that I thought it was pretty interesting how they did it, and it kind of reminded me in a way of when Goku went up against Fat Majin Buu and he was like, this is Super Saiyan 1, this is Super Saiyan 2, and this is 3. But in this instance, it was just a whole different ballgame because Beerus was on a whole other level than Goku would even dream of. So the way they went through each sequence, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool to, give us more of a fight. And granted, it wasn't, the biggest fight in the world because mainly Goku got fucked up in 2 hits, but it was cool to go through that. But really the biggest complaint, honestly, that this episode has for almost every fan is that the art and animation for that particular battle was terrible. The Super Saiyan 1 and the Super Saiyan 2 parts, I 100% agree with. I mean, it was terrible, honestly. There was almost no instance where Goku was actually on model and looked like Goku. Beerus, it was a rarity that Beerus was off. Like, Beerus actually took time, and I think it's because the people that are working on Dragon Ball, they've been working on Beerus for a while. They did Beerus in Battle of Gods. They did Beerus in the Resurrection of F. So they kind of have it down packed. But I think, honestly, one of the biggest things that Dragon Ball Super is suffering from, and the Dragon Ball franchise in general, is a lot of people working on it. First of all, I'm sure they got to crack these out, and they have a million other series, World Trigger, Sailor Moon, One Piece to worry about. But I think they're just not used to these characters and how to draw them. I think they just don't legitimately know, for the most part, a lot of the people that are working on this episode. Like, any sequence that was just them standing around like King Kai and the greeting in the beginning of this episode, it actually looked pretty decent. But as far as the fight sequence goes, especially the Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2, Goku was just completely terrible, just absolutely horrible. The Super Saiyan 3 part was definitely a lot better. There were instances where it looked bad, but the Super Saiyan 3 part wasn't nowhere near as bad as what the art and animation looked in the first 2 parts of the battle, the Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2, and I guess this was more also a demonstration of just how much of a beast Beerus is. Now, it's interesting how he constantly references back to Frieza, and I think that just, I said it with Battle of Gods, and I'll say it with this as well. Toriyama, that was the epitome of what he wanted, and I think Cell and Boo and all that was just afterthoughts, but I think Frieza was the last time where he really had the series wrapped up and planned in his mind, so that's probably why it always goes back to Frieza. I mean, granted, Cell and the androids were made on Earth, so it's a little bit different. I mean, there's really no way that Beerus could have known about him, but I think Majin Buu definitely should have been mentioned a couple different times in, this particular part, especially where he's like, oh, you use that power to be Frieza, and it's also funny how he's measuring Goku against what Frieza was, and I think even at this particular point, even though it's just Super Saiyan base, Super Saiyan, Goku should still be a hell of a lot stronger power-wise than Frieza, so that kind of had me a little bit like, yeah, okay, I mean, that was the level that he was when he fought Frieza, but he's since then gone a million times stronger, so even though he's just Super Saiyan, he should still be way outranking what Frieza was back in the day, so that kind of had me a little bit like, Beerus, how long have you been sleeping, bro? And also, like, with Beerus and Whis, especially Whis, I've noticed that the comedic aspects of their character, especially Whis, have definitely been toned down from what they were in the movies. Like, in the movies, especially Whis, I just die laughing because he's funny as shit, but I noticed they stripped a lot of that down. Now, I don't know if that's just because they want to keep it a little bit more mysterious and keep the mystique going with these characters, but if you look at them, they're not really as funny as they are in Battle of Gods. So that's another thing that I caught notice of. It's like they're a lot more serious, and again, this could be that this is differentiating what it is that this series is and what ultimately, the movies were. These characters are different. Also, if you've actually read the Dragon Ball Super manga, I'm curious, there's something that was supposed to happen during that fight that didn't actually happen in the episode, so I don't know if they're going to move it around to a different episode or what, but basically what I'm talking about is something that might actually make Battle of Gods and Dragon Ball Super different and make it so that Dragon Ball Super is not just an adaptation. And another thing that I thought was done well was I think the impact of Beerus' final chop to Goku was a little bit more impactful than what it was in the movie. I'll give it credit that, but to be honest with you, that fight, the art was terrible for the most part. The Super Saiyan 3 stuff was good, but everything else, the art was just like... But that's not to say that the entire episode was a bad episode. It's just mainly the art and animation department. I mean, you can't just base an episode off horrible art and animation. Granted, it'll be disappointing, which a lot of that fight was disappointing because it's like, who the fuck am I looking at? Not to mention Vegeta's character design was off as a motherfucker as well towards the end of the episode. So if we had to just grade the art and animation part, in particular the art part, yeah, it would get a really fucking low score. But that doesn't take away from everything else that the episode set forth. I mean, granted, we've seen this before, but... it was still fucking a fight nonetheless, showcasing how much of a difference there is between Beerus and Goku. And I don't know what King Kai is thinking that, oh yeah, Vegeta's gonna take care of it. Vegeta ain't taking care of shit, bro. If like Super Saiyan 3 Goku couldn't do this shit, I don't know what you're thinking. Also, real quick note, because everyone is talking about this as well, King Kai's voice actor. I don't know if I'll make a full video about this, just to kind of talk a little more in depth about it, but everyone hates King Kai, a majority of people, shall I say, hate King Kai's Japanese voice. And granted, one of the things that's wrong with it is that the guy that's actually playing King Kai, he's very sick and very old, so this is the best performance he can do. So that is understandable. The man is sick, there's nothing you can really do. But I think that's when you got to go to Toei and say, it's, you know, at all due respect, you should have told dude, okay, you know what, you're sick, that's all cool, so we're gonna have to recast, because it really, like, my problem with it is not even the actual vocals, like the sound of it, it's more so his performance. Like, when King Kai is flipping the fuck out, it's just mad monotone, and it's like, he should be going, ah, Goku, you stupid idiot, instead, oh, Goku, you stupid idiot, while he's going like fucking insane. So that would mainly be my problem with the King Kai performance. Not the actual voice, but the performance itself. And again, the man is sick, so you can't really knock him, but at that point, Toei, what are you doing? I know the respect shit and all that, but you need to tell him, dude, chill out, we need someone else. And with all that being said, with the controversy aside, if it wasn't for the art and animation, this would have been an incredible episode, because if you think about it, Goku outclassed in every which way. Again, comparing it to Battle of Gods is a little unfair as well, because that's a movie, but nonetheless, it's still showcasing something very huge. The problem really with this episode mainly was the art. Not even necessarily the animation too much, it's really just the art was horrific for the fight scenes, but that's still not the basis of the entire episode, so I'd say this episode still deserves about a 7. It was still a good episode, but Toei, shame, motherfuckers. What are you doing to Dragon Ball Super? Let me know what you guys thought of this episode, though. Are you on the bandwagon to burn Dragon Ball Super? The art is horrible. Also, what do you think about King Kai's voice and the episode in general? I don't want to mainly end this video saying, yeah, the art, blah, 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 because again, if you look at it as a whole, it was still Goku getting outclassed in every which way in a battle against a god, and a couple of differences as well of him just really wondering, can I achieve this power of a Super Saiyan god alone? So I think that's a little bit of them adding some foreshadowing, which is good as well. You know, real thoughts of the episode, but that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.